From LA's protest crackdown to Trump's tech orders and AI's Wall Street wins. And of course, today's trivia question, which term refers to summer dormancy, like hibernation, but triggered by heat and drought? I have literally no idea, so let's find out together. It's Monday, June 9th, and this is the Flyover Podcast. Welcome to the Flyover Podcast, taking you above the noise for an unbiased, high-altitude view of today's headlines with daily coverage that's honest and refreshing. Let's cruise the news and land the facts. Good morning and welcome to the Flyover Podcast. I'm your weekday host, Ayla Brown. Whether you're driving in the car, maybe getting the kids ready for school, working out, procrastinating, hey, I don't judge. Whatever you're doing, thank you so much for finding the Flyover Podcast. We have a lot to get to today, and we're so happy you're here. So let's take off with today's biggest headlines. Yesterday, approximately 300 National Guard troops were sent to 3 locations in Los Angeles to address protests against immigration and customs enforcement raids. The Trump administration ordered the deployment to restore order after the raids, which have led to over 100,000 arrests since January. A video of a masked protester waving a Mexican flag on a dirt bike went viral, gaining 12 million views and counting on X. California Governor Gavin Newsom stated the deployment aims to, quote, manufacture a crisis rather than address public safety, while border czar Tom Homan suggested Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass could face federal charges for their response to the protests. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said Marines at Camp Pendleton are on high alert for potential mobilization if unrest continues. On Friday, President Trump signed 3 executive orders targeting technology and security. The first order updates Obama and Biden-era cybersecurity rules, restricting sanctions for critical infrastructure cyber attacks to foreign persons, dropping domestic penalties, and focusing on vulnerability management. The second lifts a 52-year ban on supersonic flights to support the development of commercial supersonic travel. The third order focuses on enhancing drone security and promoting U.S. drone innovation, addressing concerns following over 1,200 unidentified drone sightings in 2024. A University of Florida finance professor, Alejandro Lopez Lira, used ChatGPT to analyze 134,000 news headlines, archiving a simulated 650% stock market return from late 2021 to 2023. Deployed live through the Autopilot investing app, the AI-managed portfolio now oversees $38 million in assets and continues to generate profits. The AI processes market-related news to make rapid trading decisions, though Lopez Lira notes human oversight remains necessary. The experiment highlights AI's growing role in finance, with the U.S. securities market valued at $46 trillion in 2024. If you want any more information on those Takeoff stories or any stories in today's podcast, head on over to the email edition of The Flyover. Subscribe for free at jointheflyover.com. Here's what's happening in politics today. Things got heated between President Trump and Elon Musk last week, but on Friday, their aides hopped on a call to cool down the public feud that's been lighting up on X. The spat kicked off when Musk trashed Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, a $3 trillion deficit-busting spending package, calling it a, quote, disgusting abomination, and then dropped a bombshell claiming Trump's name is in unreleased Jeffrey Epstein files. Trump hit back, threatening to yank federal contracts from Musk's companies like SpaceX. Well, a source told Politico the Friday call was tense, with the future of their relationship, quote, totally uncertain. Speaking of Musk, he caused a panic on Thursday when he threatened to decommission SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft, which NASA relies on to ferry astronauts and cargo to the International Space Station. The threat came amid his feud with President Trump, hinting he might pull the plug to flex some muscle. But just hours later, Musk reversed course, saying Dragon ops would continue. According to NASA, Dragon's flown 50-plus missions since 2012, including 14 crewed trips. Next, ABC's senior national correspondent Terry Morin found himself in the penalty box Friday after calling Trump official Stephen Miller a, quote, world-class hater during a live segment on ABC's World News Tonight. The comment came while discussing Miller's role in pushing ICE's 100,000-plus arrests since January, a key part of Trump's immigration crackdown. ABC didn't take kindly, suspending Morin and issuing a statement that said it, quote, does not condone subjective personal attacks on others. We're brought to you today by Native Path Collagen. I have been personally taking Native Path Collagen for the past 5 weeks, and I just got my hair blow dried today, and even my hairdresser was like, oh my gosh, your hair is finally growing back. And yes, it is since having my baby. And I told her it was because of the collagen. Native Path is made with only type 1 and 3 collagen fibers, which make up 90% of the collagen in our bodies. What I love is that it's a single ingredient formula, so no fillers, no additives, no artificial sweeteners, just pure collagen that's been third-party tested for heavy metals. So you know it's safe, and I know it's safe. I put it in my coffee every single morning, and there's no taste, no clumps, and no hassle. Over 4 million jars sold, 8,000 five-star reviews, and they even offer a 365-day no-risk guarantee. If you want to try it for yourself, head to getnativepathcollagen.com/flyover. That's getnativepathcollagen.com/flyover, or click on the link in the description below. All right, everyone, it's time for Podcast Extra. Here's some bonus stories just for listeners of the Flyover Podcast. Over 1 million Hoosiers were urged to avoid gas stations this weekend as wildfire smoke from Canada pushed air quality across northern Indiana into unhealthy territory. The Indiana Department of Environmental Management extended its Air Quality Action Day, warning that volatile organic compounds from refueling can worsen smog during high pollution periods. Officials now recommend delaying gas purchases until after 7 p.m. and reducing car use until the smoke clears. At least 200 wildfires continue to burn across Canada, impacting much of the U.S. Midwest. Next, a new Department of Defense reveals the Pentagon deliberately spread UFO rumors in the 1980s, including fake flying saucer photos at Area 51, to mask stealth aircraft tests like the F-117 Nighthawk. The disinformation campaign, including prank briefings about fictitious alien units, aimed to mislead Soviet spies and even U.S. personnel. Investigators found the practice persisted until at least 2023, when the Pentagon finally banned it. Officials now admit the full truth about decades of UFO-related information may never be fully disclosed. Lastly, to escape crypto-targeted kidnappings, Didi Taihudo's Bitcoin family ditched hardware wallets, splitting their Bitcoin keys into encrypted fragments hidden across 4 continents. After online threats, they use fireproof steel plates, blockchain encryption, and multi-signature wallets, with 65% of their crypto in cold storage for a future pension. All in on Bitcoin since 2017, they avoid France and stopped filming at their home for safety. That's your Podcast Extra Roundup. Looking forward to giving you more exclusive content tomorrow and every day to come. By the way, still to come, Russia's ruble is defying expectations as the world's best performing currency. Aaron Rodgers is getting one last shot at glory with the Steelers. And UK courts just laid down the law on AI in the courtroom. Don't go anywhere. Here's what's happening in the world of finance. Ford's tugging at heartstrings with the 2026 Mustang FX package, unveiled this week as a love letter to the iconic 1980s Fox body Mustang. This bad boy rocks retro styling with a modern 5-liter V8 pumping out 500 horsepower. I don't know why I just did an accent with that. It just felt right. Starting at $45,000, it's aimed at enthusiasts who really just grew up drooling over the 87 to 93 Mustangs, which sold over 1.3 million units back in the day. Next, Tesla's Optimus VP Milan Kovac quit Friday after 9 years, citing family time abroad. Leading the humanoid robot program since 2022, he advanced Optimus to a walking, grabbing Gen 2 prototype. Elon Musk claims Optimus could boost Tesla's $1 trillion market cap to $25 trillion. And lastly, the Russian ruble has surged 38% against the US dollar in 2025, making it the world's best performing currency. Trading at about 82 rubles to the dollar, it's a wild turnaround from 2022's post-sanction lows of 150. So what's driving it? Sky-high oil prices, plus Russia's trade pivot to Asia, with China and India buying 90% of its oil exports. Russia's central bank also jacked up interest rates to 21% to tame 7% inflation, bolstering the ruble. This comes despite Western sanctions over Ukraine, which froze $300 billion of Russia's reserves in 2022. Here are your major sports headlines. Spain's Carlos Alcaraz, the number 3 seed, cemented his status as a clay court king yesterday, winning the French Open men's final for the second straight year by staging a jaw-dropping comeback against the world's number 2, Jannik Sinner. Down 2 sets, Alcaraz battled back to win in a 5-set thriller that lasted over 4 hours. The 22-year-old's relentless baseline game and clutch serving, firing 12 aces, by the way, flipped the match. This is Alcaraz's 3rd Grand Slam title. Congratulations to him. The NFL's never short on drama, and Aaron Rodgers is keeping it spicy. On Thursday, the future Hall of Fame quarterback inked a 1-year, $13.65 million contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers, giving the 41-year-old a fresh start after a rocky 2024 season with the New York Jets. The Steelers, sitting at 7-5 and fighting for a playoff spot, are betting Rodgers' veteran savvy can just spark their offense. Pittsburgh passed on drafting a QB in 2025, opting for defensive tackle instead. So I guess we'll see if Rodgers can actually lead the team. Merab Dvalishvili is a straight-up beast. The UFC bantamweight champ defended his title Saturday night at UFC in Newark, New Jersey, shutting down Sean O'Malley in a unanimous decision that wasn't even close. He's nicknamed the Machine, and he used his relentless wrestling to stifle O'Malley's striking, outlanding him 135 to 34 in total strikes and landing 5 of 12 takedowns. There's always something happening in science and tech. Listen to this. The UK's highest court dropped the hammer on Thursday, ruling that lawyers could face, quote, severe penalties like fines, contempt proceedings, or even criminal probes for using incorrect AI-generated info in court cases. This comes after a string of embarrassing incidents where attorneys cited fake cases churned out by AI tools like ChatGPT. With 70% of UK lawyers now using AI for research, the court's warning is clear. Double-check your work or pay the price. And get ready for a celestial treat. The strawberry moon will hit its peak at 4:02 a.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday, June 11th. But astronomers say the prime viewing time is actually Tuesday evening, June 10th, when the moon rises at sunset around 8:30 p.m. local time, glowing a pinkish orange dew to its low lights and just angle in the sky. It's the last full moon of spring, so don't miss it. Next one is July's buck moon. Let's check in and see what's happening beyond our borders. Colombia's rocked by a bold attack Saturday when 39-year-old senator and 2026 presidential candidate Miguel Uribe Turbay was shot 3 times at a Bogota rally. The Democratic center star was addressing 250 supporters when a 15-year-old alleged hitman fired. Airlifted to Santa Fe Hospital, Uribe underwent emergency surgery and currently remains critical in ICU. As if Colombia didn't have enough on its plate, a 6.3 magnitude earthquake struck early Sunday, shaking the capital, Bogota, and sending residents into the streets. No deaths or major structural damage were reported by Sunday afternoon, but 12 aftershocks, the largest at 4.8 magnitude, kept nerves frayed. Next, Israel's defense minister Yoav Gallant ordered the military Saturday to block a Greta Thunberg-led humanitarian flotilla carrying 1,000 tons of aid from reaching Gaza, citing security and weapons smuggling risks. The Freedom Flotilla coalition ships sailing from Norway hit Egypt's coast by Sunday. Thunberg claimed on X that the IDF was jamming their GPS, possibly over Houthi drone fears. Israel says the flotilla could aid Hamas, which controlled Gaza's aid. Egypt and Turkey are mediating next steps. Still to come, an exciting update about the Tennessee pet zebra. And is it even legal to have a pet zebra? I will tell you next. Well, here are some quirky stories that we couldn't leave out of the podcast. Picture this. You're chilling on a Naples, Florida beach, and a 300-pound black bear swims up from the Gulf of Mexico like it's auditioning for a wildlife blockbuster. That is exactly what stunned beachgoers on Sunday. The bear was spotted paddling near Vanderbilt Beach and climbed ashore and then casually strolled into a nearby condominium construction site. Workers found it napping in the lobby like it owned the place. Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission officers tranquilized the bear and relocated it to a preserve in the Big Cypress area, about 30 miles east of Naples. Next, in Los Angeles, a family's grief turned to outrage when they discovered their mother's headstone had been marking the wrong grave for 3 years at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale. The error came to light when the family tried to bury their father next to her, only to find another person's remains under her headstone. The man, whose identity has not been disclosed, is now suing the cemetery for emotional distress and negligence, seeking unspecified damages. And lastly, in brighter news, we have an update about the pet zebra sighting in Tennessee. If you were listening last week, you know that I told you about Ed, the zebra. Well, he was finally captured on Sunday after more than a week on the loose. Deputies spotted Ed grazing in a pasture off of U.S. Route 231, and a Texas-based exotic animal rescue team swooped in, literally airlifting him via helicopter in a net to a waiting trailer. Ed escaped on May 31st when his owner, a local breeder, was moving him, sparking a community-wide search with drones and news chopper sightings. And if you're wondering, zebras are legal as pets in Tennessee, but you need a permit. Well, here's yesterday's poll question and the results. Thank you so much to all of you who have voted. What's your favorite way to spend a Sunday? 54% said relaxing at home. 16% said outdoors. 15% said socializing with others. 7% said catching up on work. 5% said exploring something new. That's how I voted. And 4% said other. That actually surprises me. I thought more people would be on my side. But relaxing at home was honestly my second choice. And I do love relaxing at home whenever possible. But here's the poll question for today. How many hours of sleep do you get on a typical night? Less than 5? 5 to 6 hours? 7 to 8 hours? Or more than 8? Oh my gosh, that would be my dream. I'll tell you, I don't get enough sleep. I haven't gotten enough sleep for the past 3 years since being pregnant and then having my 2 kids. So does that ever change if you're a parent? Parents, please leave me a comment with that honesty. So in this case, I'm voting 5 to 6 hours, which I don't think is enough sleep at all. You can vote today at jointheflyover.com. All you have to do is subscribe to the email edition, and you can vote on all the polls, not just today, but every day going forward. Well, bears hibernate in the winter, but what term refers to summer dormancy like hibernation, but triggered by heat and drought? The answer? It's estivation. Duh. Think hibernation, but for summer, helping them save energy and stay hydrated when things get brutal outside. Speaking of summer, depending on where you live, it might be feeling brutal outside with the weather. But that is going to do it for the Flyover Podcast. I hope you have a great start to your week and that you accomplish everything you set out to. I'll be back tomorrow with more headlines and, of course, another podcast extra section just for you listeners. Don't forget to share on any podcast app, or if you listen on YouTube, thank you for that, and leave a comment. As always, share and leave a 5-star review. Why not? Thank you once again for flying with us.